This is organic material from a dinosaur bone. It looks pretty fresh, still has its color, right? And this is some of the evidence we'll be considering today. Research for this year's lecture theme has been exciting, Dr. Boss says. It is difficult to narrow the topics down to just a few lectures, but these few lectures make major statements. The evidence for design and recent creation is overwhelming. We're more than just intelligent design supporters here. We're scientific creationists here, which means we believe in intelligent design, but we know who the designer is. And the intelligent designer, is the God of the Bible. And we make no apology for that here. As far as recent creation, we're talking about less than 10,000 years supported scientifically. Biblically, closer to 6,000 years. And that's not just for the earth, that's for the entire creation. That's the heavens and the earth together. Approximately 6,000 years. Biblically, if you use event-to-event chronology, or if you use some of the genealogy chronologies that are mentioned in Scripture, like Genesis chapter 11, Genesis chapter 5, other places, the most you can spread Scripture out is about 6,200 years. So when we say 6,000 to 10,000 years, that's what we mean when we say recent creation. And the evidence for that is overwhelming. If soft tissue could be found in old fossils, it would render the term old as referring to just a few thousand years. This would be consistent with the Scriptures and the creation model, but it would be totally inconsistent with the evolution model and the evolutionary assumption of deep time in space and Earth history. If you're not familiar with the term deep time, that's the evolutionary mantra of millions and billions of years. Okay? So when you see the term deep time, that's what that refers to. The evidence presented in this lesson has been gleaned from credentialed scholars and peer-reviewed scientific journals. For the August Director's Lecture, we have scheduled scientist Mark Armitage, a specialist in electron and confocal microscopes. Most people are familiar with electron microscopes. They give extremely detailed images of very, very, very small, invisible things, invisible to the naked eye. A confocal microscope basically takes multiple two-dimensional images at different depths within the sample and can restructure those into a three-dimensional image. And so that's a very powerful optical device. And Mark Armitage is an expert working with that machine. There's a picture of him there on the left, and you can see some of the technology that he works with. An example of the microscope there on the right. And if we wanted to kind of peer in on what he's looking at on the screens, that's coming up here shortly as well. He's looking at what's called an osteocyte. That's what you're seeing here on the right in this picture. Osteo, anybody from school remembers what that biological prefix means? Means bone? Good. And cyte, C-Y-T-E, means cell. Very good. Excellent. Especially if you were here for the March lecture when we talked about the organized complexity of a living cell. So an osteocyte is a bone cell, basically. Okay? His micrographs have appeared on the covers of 11 scientific journals, and Mark has actually discovered pliable soft tissue in dinosaur fossils. On Saturday, August 1st, he will describe the process and display the evidence. So he'll be going into more detail than I'll be going into today. And you'll be hearing it first person from the person who actually did the research itself. As far as osteocytes, in a typical human body, there are about 42 billion of those. 42 billion of those. Mark Armitage found osteocyte cells in the supraorbital, above the eye horn of a Triceratops dinosaur, the three-horned dinosaur, three-horn-faced dinosaur. He published that in 2016, 2015, 2016. He was working at that time at California State University in Northridge, California. After he published that, which makes it look really bad for evolution because these cells are not supposed to be millions of years in duration as far as how long they can last. The authorities at the university most basically claimed that he was subtly advancing his creationist views but using the university's name and technology to do it. And so they basically released him from his post, shut down his laboratory. There at the university, a wrongful termination lawsuit ensued, and miraculously, Mark Armitage won that settlement. The university, even though they denied firing him because he was a creationist, they still forked out almost $400,000 in the settlement. As far as we know, he's the only creationist to win in court on anything like this. It is very frequent that creationists have their careers terminated, degrees rescinded, basically persecution on campus, on the job. People say, "Oh no, that doesn't happen." It happens. Okay, I've been a victim of that also, both in college and as actually on a Christian school campus as well. And so I know all about that. But this happens all the time, and the court system is not really friendly to creationists or intelligent design supporters. But in Mark Armitage's case, the victory was won there. Okay, so that's noteworthy.